Hey everybody, this is Grace, and I had made a video with me actually in the picture before this video, but when I tried to upload it, for some reason it wouldn't upload. I tried it twice, the video. I don't know if it was because it changed from me being on video, I wouldn't think so, to this kind of view. It just wouldn't upload, and so I deleted that one with me in it, and I'm making this one to go in front of it. And I might add to another video to the end of this one. We'll see, because it made it short as it was. It made the whole video short, so I deleted that clip, but hopefully it makes sense without that clip. Okay, so during the pandemic, this young salesman came up to the house, and we were both inside, and our doorbell doesn't ring. Well, I have a sign next to it that says doorbell doesn't ring, knock hard. Well, he knocked. But also on the sign, it says no solicitation, no, beware of dogs, you're on camera, this kind of thing, no trespassing. Okay. And this young man, he just decided he was more important all around, apparently, so he knocked. And Adam was like, who would that be, And he went to the door, and I was in the other room, and Adam yelled, who are you? And he looked through the window to try to see, and the guy could see him, but the whole thing, I asked Adam at one point, said, let me handle it. We did not open the door at all, and we tried to get the guy to tell us what he wanted. And he wouldn't. He would talk really low. Yeah, he was trying to get us to open the door. And I had my suspicions. The name on his shirt I'd never seen before, apparently where he worked or what he worked for. It was very vague. And my suspicion was that he was here scoping out the neighborhood. And plus, I thought he was rather psychopathic. Here it is, a pandemic, and he had absolutely no concern for other people. It was all about him. Some would just say narcissistic. Didn't have a mask on, really. Okay, no mask. Trying to get us to open the door by doing that, and I just told him to get off my property. Now, he had to have read that sign to knock. Okay, so he knows the score, but he did it anyway. Okay, he knocked. So all around, this was like only concerned about him, if concerned about himself, and didn't care. But like I said, my thought on this was there's something more to it, and I trust my gut most often. Something wasn't right, and I truly did, like I just said, felt like he was scoping out the neighborhood and all that. Okay, so reading over my notes, I'd written down that the next time I'm going to call the cops, which they wouldn't have that far to go since one lives across the street. And yeah, I know a lot of people say that, but this is true. They have to live somewhere. And the way I found out about that, I should just go ahead and tell the story. But there's also I don't know what they call them, another little whatever about a block away where the police are. But one day, I think it was that I had the gate was open, and I went back there and saw that the gate was open. It should not have been open. We didn't open it, so I had called the police, and they came out, or something had happened. And they said, well, at the end of it, one of them said, don't worry, ma'am, we'll be out here all night, and laughed. And that's when I got the gist of it. And it goes back to a different story about one day I saw somebody driving into my driveway, and I also, after that, I saw a light, like a flashlight. And later on, all that stopped, so I kind of went to the door and I opened it. And that's a really bad thing to do. It was about 10 o'clock, somewhere around there at night. And I didn't look out before I opened it. And that's not my norm. I don't know why I did that, but anyway, I think the outside light was off or something. And I opened up, yeah, it was. I think the bulb had burned. And when I opened up the door, there was this huge man dressed totally in black with kind of long, straight hair, and couldn't see his face, but just huge man, very bulky. And I heard a sound come out of my mouth that I'd never heard before. I screamed so loud, ran through the house. Seriously, it wasn't funny then. Called the police and everything, about it. And it was, Adam was asleep, and I ran and got him, and he, ran out of the house, and I had called the police in the meanwhile, and they said, no, tell him to come back in. Anyway, as it turns out, it was that cop that lives across the street, had seen something. Yeah, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time. So, anyway. So really, somebody trying to scope out, check out this neighborhood, yeah, that's not a smart thing. There's more than one cop that lives in this neighborhood. Like I said, they have to live somewhere. And the other one I've seen, it's two of them, I think. They live in that one house. Or maybe not, but they have the car there quite often. So, okay, so anyway, so let's go back to the original story. That young man that came to the house, seriously, think about what kind of nerve that takes. Maybe it could be that they were trained this way. I also question what was he on. But think about the nerve it would take to come to somebody's door in Texas here. Okay, this is Texas. And knock on the door, read the sign that says, no, get off my property, this kind of thing. But still do it anyway. No mask. Oh my goodness. I mean, that takes a lot of nerve, and no caring, obviously not caring at all. So, like I said, I had said before that I felt like that was scoping out the neighborhood. Well, okay, I'm going to read my notes here. But after that happened, I did a video on it, and let's see. And one day I was, I think it was the next day, I was sitting outside, like I'm doing right now, making videos. And, all right, sorry about that. But I was sitting out here making videos, and I can see, through my rear view, when people drive by. And I usually, check it just, in case somebody decides to come up here. And that hasn't actually happened. But somebody has driven in my driveway while I was sitting out here. And my neighbor, like I've said, there's this one particular house of neighbors that, yeah, they love to go out there, back of their house, outside of their garage, and watch me. It's weird. It's totally weird. They from day one, 20 years ago, we bought the house. Yeah, they were like this. Anyway. So I was sitting here, and there was a, I don't know, like a, those little bitty, they're not actually SUVs, but they're like little, I don't know what you would call them. Automobiles used for businesses, like somebody puts a sign on the side, but they're tiny. They're I don't even know if I'd say they're the size of an SUV, but they're vans maybe, I don't know. Anyway, one kept driving by, and it had their logo or whatever on it, and I've never heard of that before either. And I thought, okay, that's rather suspicious, to be driving in this neighborhood. And they weren't stopping at any of the houses. They were just driving through down this road, and the little other side, and I could see them. And they'd slow down right behind me and keep going. And yeah, I didn't like that. It felt again like they were scoping out the neighborhood. Now, this would not be the first time. We've actually, this suburb and the one right above it actually had a, whatever you call them, but people were getting in people's automobiles and stealing things from, everybody's automobiles. And this was a few years ago. So it wouldn't be that unusual, for somebody to be scoping for the neighborhood. Okay, so after that, whatever you call it, van or whatever, finally left. Adam left. And he was going to go pick up our groceries. He goes and picks them up now instead of having them delivered. That was a disaster after a while. But so, he left. So his SUV is not sitting in the driveway anymore. It's just mine. And I went in and he left and all that. About, say, 10 to 15 minutes after he left, I'm in the house. And I was in another room, but I could hear it. Like I said, the doorbell doesn't work, and we're not going to fix it. We both were electricians many years ago. No, we're not going to fix it. So anyway, I was sitting in another room, and guess what happened? Which ties back to me thinking that they were scoping out the neighborhood. Yeah, I'm in that room, in a different room, and I could hear at the front door somebody was trying to get in the house. They were trying to open the door. Okay. I knew it wasn't Adam because I think I had just called him and said, how far are you? And because I keep the dogs, so when I put the dogs in one room when he gets back so he can unpack the groceries from the SUV. And I knew that it wasn't him, like I said. So somebody had tried to get into the front door. There it was, his SUV was gone. That weird logoed van had just gone by all those times. So yes, I mean, that's how my brain connects it together. It was just too weird. Somebody trying to get in the door? Really? Okay. So when that happened, and there was a little bit of a delay, I don't remember why, but I went up to the front door, to see, and I didn't see anybody out here. I could look through the little window and didn't see anybody out here. So I opened up the door to see maybe somebody was just trying to put the flyer on the, on the doorknob. There was no flyer. Which, of course, if they'd read the sign, they wouldn't do it anyway. But listen to the whole story. That guy that was a salesperson didn't care. And we've had every once in a while somebody leave stuff on the door. But anyway, and sometimes if they don't leave it on the door, they'll just put it on the ground. Yeah. But I don't know. It was weird. And the way my brain connected it was that person or people, they're scoping out the neighborhood. So, and anyway, I just wanted to give an update on that. And I think that was pretty spooky. Since then, we haven't had any problems, with anything. So hopefully they didn't get what they wanted, and maybe somebody actually called the police on them. Next time I will. If somebody comes to the door and they knock, and think about it. They're not ringing the doorbell, they're knocking, so they're reading the sign, most likely, and it says no. None of that. Beware, no trespassing, all that. But, I'm just going to call the police. They'll find them somewhere in the neighborhood, It's just not one of those things I think about so much, because this neighborhood, the way they did the roads and everything was for that reason. It's so confusing out here. Like I've said in that other video, they did it on purpose, so nobody would even try to, steal anything or whatever. But, so it's not something that's always on my mind, in other words. Plus, we got great neighborhood watch. Apparently, they like to watch me. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I'll talk to you on another video.